Hello and welcome to JUMPSCARE, quick reviews of short horror games. I play a lot of indie horror games over on my other channel. I just find it super fun and interesting to see what small teams and single developers with limited resources yet unlimited imaginations can come up with. And today we're taking a look at the latest game from a popular developer who's dipping their toes into an equally popular subgenre. So hop on the train and let's take a look at Shinkansen 0 by Chilla. If you have an interest in indie horror games, then there's most likely a few studios you've already heard of. And one of them would definitely be Chilla, who are especially well known for titles like Akamanto, The Closing Shift, and Parasocial. This Japanese developer has been pumping out I actually said spoopy by accident. This Japanese developer has been pumping out scary games since 2018, and in that time they have managed to carve out a very specific niche for themselves. Whether they're making you come face to face with mundane terrors like stalkers or more supernatural threats like ghosts and curses, you can rest assured that you're going to be thrown into a dark, grainy looking world inhabited by strange, off-putting characters who all seem to exist only to keep you on edge even when you aren't yet in danger. And then along comes Shinkansen 0 to turn the whole thing on its head. Well, sort of. It's still very much a Chilla game in tone, but unlike most of their games which run on puzzle-based exploration, Shinkansen 0 belongs to the recently popular Spot the Difference subgenre, popularized by games like I'm on Observation Duty and Exit 8. In short, you're stuck on a looping Japanese bullet train and tasked with spotting whether or not something is a little bit off on each loop. Fail and you go back to the beginning. Succeed and you go to the next car, hoping to eventually reach an exit. So keep your eyes peeled, pay attention to the details, and be on the lookout for the bizarre, the slightly unusual, and the outright insane. Given that this is a game based entirely on being able to spot subtle differences, Chilla have wisely decided to do away with their usual grainy film filters and up the brightness, thus giving you every option to count the seat numbers, double check every sign, and be faced with sudden dread when the train really decides to mess with you. Now, in the interest of fairness, I should point out that I've only played a few of these anomaly-seeking horror games, but the way I see them, they require a couple of things to work. One of those things is an interesting setting where the odd details feel relatively organic, and the other is anomalies that feel like they make sense within the game's own little world, and don't just rely on being stereotypically spooky. And if you ask me, Chilla manages to nail both of those aspects in Shinkansen 0. You aren't going to find many random splatterings of blood or torn body parts hidden in the corners or signs suddenly getting all ghost-facey and oogie-boogie on you. These anomalies tend to range from subtle to kinda strange to outright bonkers, and the latter especially can really catch you with your pants down sometimes. I mean, I played the game for about 2.5 hours, and I'm still pretty sure there's a bunch of anomalies I haven't seen. And unusually for these types of games, Shinkansen 0 actually has a story that adequately explains why the loops are happening, at least if you go for the second ending, which in good old Chilla fashion requires you to remember certain details and act somewhat counterintuitively. But without wanting to spoil anything, just trust me when I say that it will be worth your while to seek out this extra ending. I mean, it's not like it's the most original story ever or anything, but it is perfectly serviceable for this type of game. Now, to be frank, Shinkansen 0 is not Chilla's scariest or even their strongest game. While it can still get pretty intense, particularly in one of the two endings, it's comparatively lighthearted and feels more like it's just having a bit of fun messing with you, like a sibling that likes to play spooky pranks. So if you're expecting the pure, unsettling, nail-biting tension of stuff like The Closing Shift or Parasocial, you're going to be disappointed. Just pack it in and play a different game. It is, however, one of their most fun games, and it does manage to throw you a couple of interesting curveballs in a genre that is otherwise on the fast track to becoming oversaturated. If you like Spot the Difference horror, this is one of the weirder and more offbeat ones, and all the better for it. And that's it for this episode of JUMPSCARE. If you'd like to watch me actually play the game, you can look for a link in the description or click the card in the corner of this video. And of course, don't forget to come back later for more quick spooks in the future. See you there, folks, and bye bye.